What you want to do is soften your butter. Soften your butter. Put in the microwave about 15 seconds, 30 seconds. We're not melting the butter, we just want it soft. My butter's been out for about an hour, so it is soft. But if you guys could begin by placing your butter in a microwave and setting it for about 15 seconds to 30 seconds, we just want it soft. Not melted, but softened. If you have a big block of chocolate, you can chop it up. If you have chocolate chips, that's fine. If you want to use nuts instead of the chips, that's fine. If you have peanut butter chips, butterscotch chips, raisins, dried fruit, whatever you want to put in your cookie dough, you can. The cookie dough that we're making is a blank canvas, so it is up to you to put whatever pleasure you like in your cookie dough. Go ahead and get your oven hot. Turn your oven on 350. You want to get a cookie sheet if you have one. If not, just a flat pan. If you have parchment paper, you want to put parchment paper in your pan. If you don't have parchment paper and you have aluminum foil, place aluminum foil or parchment paper in your pan. Get your oven set at 350 because once we finish the ingredients, we can actually bake off some cookies. So right now, we haven't begun yet, but what you want to start with is get your oven on 350, get a pan, parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, you want to just do aluminum foil. If you're using aluminum foil, you can spray it with cooking spray. If you don't have cooking spray, you can use a little bit of butter. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? All right, I'm gonna believe that we're ready. My name is Shannon, and I own a pastry and chocolate company in Evanston called Noir. I am the only chocolate company in Evanston that makes chocolate from scratch, from bean to bar. I love food. Food brings people together. It's happiness. It makes us smile. It makes us feel sexy. It connects us, and food is my get-off thing. Outside of pastries and chocolates, I do cook. So that is who I am, and I appreciate you all joining me today. Cookies are a blank canvas, and they remind us of being with our parents or being with grandparents. They remind us of being children. Cookies probably was our first snack that we can remember helping someone in the kitchen make, or it was a great treat or prize that we were given when we did something good. So I felt like cookies would be a good, loving, comfortable, bringing us together snack. And before we begin, cheers to you guys. All right, chocolate chip cookies. I believe that everyone has their ingredients. The first thing in your bowl is the butter. The butter that you want to put in your bowl is 1 cup of butter. That's either a half a pound if you started with a big block, or that's 2 sticks, or that's a cup because you put it in your measuring cup. So everyone wants to put in their bowl a cup of butter. So 2 sticks of butter is what should be in your bowl right now. Your butter should be softened, and you'll see why in a second. Now, you guys have 1 cup of brown sugar. That goes in our bowl. We also have 3/4 cups of granulated sugar. That goes in our bowl. Any type of granulated sugar you want to use will work. So if you wanted to use stevia, Splenda, monk fruit, cane juice sugar, any kind of granulated sugar you can use. I like to do the mixture of dark and white sugar, but any kind of granulated sugar you can use. So in our bowl right now, you have 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, and 3/4 cup of white sugar. Traditionally, when I'm in the kitchen, I use a scale. The reason why you want to use a scale is because So there's 11 of us on now. If 11 of us were in the kitchen and we were all making the same recipe, it needs to come out the same way every time. And the only way to ensure that that happens is if we use a scale. If you measure 1 cup of flour, we'll all get a different number. But if we put down in our recipe 8 ounces, then no matter who does it on a scale, 8 will always be 8. Normally 3/4 cups of sugar, I wouldn't use measuring cups, I would just put 6 ounces. So there's always math in everything we do, people. So now, what's in our bowl? Butter, brown sugar, white sugar. You got 2 options. If you're a kid, I tell you, hurry up real quick, go wash your hands real good, and smash everything. If you're an adult, do the same thing, or use a spoon. I like my hands. So all we're gonna do right now is mix together our brown sugar, our white sugar, and our granulated sugar. You want to get it very, very well mixed together. You want to make sure that your sugars and your butter come together. Don't have them be separate pieces. Like right now, if you can see in my bowl, I have a glob of butter and then I have my sugar. It's not completely mixed in. We want to mix it all the way in. The reason why we're using our hands is because I don't know who has a mixer who doesn't, and I wanted us to be able to do this together regardless of what supplies one had or didn't have. So that is why we are using our hands. If you have a mixer, use a mixer. If you have a food processor, use a food processor. If you want to give your kids, your children, an activity where they can be messy and playful, then this is it. All right, so this is what we have. This is a combination of our 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, and 3/4 cup of granulated white sugar. Hello, you wonderful people. Everyone that just came on, we are making chocolate chip cookies. All of our ingredients should be measured out in front of you. And what we have in our bowl right now is butter and sugar. And all we're doing is smashing it to mix them all together. Does everybody have this? Butter and 2 sugars. Any kind of granulated sugar would do. So sometime with brown sugar, you'll see lumps or there'll be a chunk of it that doesn't mix in. You can squeeze that. So as I can feel the sugar and the butter in between my hands, my fingers, I am smashing the lumps of brown sugar. All right, I'm moving on to the next ingredient. 2 eggs. You have 2 beautiful eggs. I didn't tell you what size. Normally when I work in the kitchen, I'm using large eggs. So I have 2 large eggs. You want to crack that in your bowl. What's in your bowl right now? Butter, 1 cup, white sugar, 3/4 cup, and brown sugar, 1 cup. Now we're going to crack and we're adding 2 eggs. Normally I would tell you to crack your eggs in a separate bowl, and the reason why you do that is to make sure you don't have any shells in your egg. It's easier to see the shells if they're cracked in a separate bowl. But you're at home, a little bit of shell won't hurt you. So, in my bowl goes my egg. It's in there, you can't see it. And my sugar and my butter. Now either with our hands or whatever mixing device you have, you want to go ahead and mix that. The eggs are going to loosen up the batter, so it's looser than what it was before. For you beautiful beings that are just joining us, we are making chocolate chip cookie dough. Right now in our bowl is 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, 3/4 cup of white sugar, and 2 eggs. All we're doing is mixing. This is what you want your batter to look like right now. You have 3 ingredients inside of it. All right. So I told you this is easy. This is easy, easy, easy. Now, the ingredients that we have left on the table is 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2½ cups of flour. We're going to mix those 3 ingredients together. So mix together your salt, your baking soda, and your flour. And once you have those mixed, you're going to add them to your bowl. In your bowl, you just put in 2½ cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And now you're going to stir this as well and mix this in. We're pretty much almost done. You're mixing this in. You want all the flour to disappear. Right now you see lots of flour. We don't want to see that. We want to mix it till it looks like one smooth, homogenized mixture of cookie dough. For you cookie dough eaters, we're coming to that part. If you are working with your hands, squeeze the dough together. Your dough should start to come together like mine is. It should start to resemble cookie dough. If you're working with your hands, it feels very, very good squeezing it between your fingers. Very, very good. Reminds me of playing with Play-Doh. I like it. So right now, this is what your cookie dough looks like. 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, 3/4 cup of white sugar, 2 eggs, 2½ cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Your dough should be a solid, beautiful mass right now. Now, what I forgot to add, we would have added the flavoring for this recipe is vanilla extract, but it could be an alcohol. It could be almond extract, malt liquid, Grand Marnier, rum, any type of flavoring that you like. We would have added that with the eggs. With this recipe, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. You can add it right now. We are adding 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract to our cookie dough. Once you have that in, we're going to go back and mix it in together. I like this cookie dough because cookie dough is a blank canvas. At this point, you can add whatever you want to it. If you want something that feels more like a sugar cookie, you're done with this. You can scoop it and bake it. If you want a nut cookie, add nuts. If you want a dried fruit cookie, add your dried fruit. This is a blank canvas cookie dough. It is a delicious, flavorful, sweet cookie dough. We're adding chocolate chips, but you can add whatever it is that you like. But for our first time, we are making chocolate chip cookie dough. Those of you, like I say, it's a blank canvas. Go ahead, add whatever you like. I am adding a 60% dark chocolate. I make chocolate from scratch from bean to bar, so you can take one of my chocolate bars and chop it up in pieces to add it. Because I make the chocolate from scratch, it has more cocoa butter in it, so it will pool. If you want something that doesn't pool, you can take regular chocolate chips and cut them in pieces. I didn't do that, so I am just using a 60% chocolate chip. They are larger than your normal chocolate chips. Ghirardelli makes them, and I think it's a better quality chocolate chip than using a Nestle's or Hershey's. But use whatever you like. So, in the bowl goes my chocolate chips. Once again, mix it, mix it, mix it. Your oven should be ready too.